My husband is an elite director, totally different from you, a high school graduate,
said Emily, my former childhood friend and classmate, with a mocking laugh. Oh, so he's getting fired, huh? My classmate was shocked. What were the words I unleashed? My name is Jack Smith. I've just turned 30 this year. I've been married to my wife, Sophia, for 3 years now. Our marriage is filled with peace, thanks to Sophia's gentle and kind nature. One day, I found a stylish envelope in our mailbox at home. It was from Emily, a high school classmate I hadn't contacted in over 10 years. Inside was an invitation to a high school reunion. Why now? I wondered, but feeling eager to see everyone after such a long time, I decided to attend. On the day of the reunion, Sophia chose a suit for me, and I made my way to the venue. It was a standing reception, and everyone was already mingling freely. After greeting a few people and enjoying some food, Emily, who organized the reunion, approached me.
Look at this, an interesting group. Just a bunch of broke folks,
She said, looking down on us with disdain. Honestly, I wasn't a standout in our class.
It's been a while, Jack. I was worried about where you were and what you were doing.
Emily said mockingly. She and I are childhood friends who used to live nearby.
I'm getting married soon. That's why I gathered everyone here today.
Oh, congratulations.
My husband is an elite director, totally different from you, a high school graduate,
She said with a mocking laugh. Her words stung a bit, but not wanting to make a scene, I sincerely congratulated her. Everyone else also offered their blessings. Emily, looking pleased, continued speaking.
You guys, I'll definitely have you attend my wedding. Look, my husband is planning to take over the company with this marriage, so there will be a lot of guests on the groom's side. So I'm gonna let you guys, who were my high school classmates, attend as guests from the bride's side.
She handed out wedding invitations. Probably she just wanted to show off her wedding, but no one could say that and just accepted it.
You'll come too, right? After all, we're childhood friends.
Emily emphasized our childhood friendship on purpose. I've heard our mothers have been good friends since their school days. However, I lost my mother in 3rd grade and was raised by my dad, who worked in a machine parts factory. That's when things changed. After my mother passed away, my dad started drowning his sorrows in alcohol and gambling, and our lives took a drastic turn. We had to sell our house and moved into a rundown apartment. In high school, I couldn't even afford a new uniform and had to make do with worn hand-me-downs from relatives. In addition, my dad never came to school events like Parents' Day or graduation ceremony. To do all of those, I was subjected to cruel words like poo and dirty from my classmates. Seeing me in that state, Emily gradually began to ostracize me, and by the time we were in high school, she was leading the bullying against me. In my 12th grade, I asked my dad about applying for college. When I nervously brought it up, my dad yelled furiously,
What are you talking about? I have no intention of sending you to college.
"What?" I was bewildered and stumbled over my words. Even after desperately trying to convey my wish to continue studying, my dad stubbornly refused to agree. My classmates noticed that I was going to start working immediately after high school, and that became the talk of the class. Emily, who was the center of attention in the class, was among those who ridiculed me.
Huh? You're going to work right after high school graduation. Well, you're from a single-parent family. It's sad you can't afford college because you're poor,
She said, and the other classmates chuckled. I wanted to change my circumstances somehow. The day I graduated from high school, I left home in silence and headed to the city by train alone. With no one to rely on, I was filled with fear and anxiety. Since that day, I've hardly returned to my hometown, let alone my parents' house. I only kept in touch with a few close friends occasionally. After that, I tried to find a job in the city, but there were hardly any places willing to hire a high school graduate. The only place that hired me was the cleaning company I'm working for now. Given my natural property towards cleanliness, this job suited me. I worked hard, and a few years later, when I was 22, I met Sophia at my workplace. She had a beautiful smile and was always polite to everyone. I felt drawn to her, and then she asked me out for a meal. From there, our relationship grew and led to marriage. When I decided to marry Sophia, I thought I should at least inform my dad, but he seemed utterly uninterested.
Well, someone's actually marrying a guy like you. She must have a quirky taste.
Dad, that's no way to talk.
Well, as long as you don't bother me, that's fine. Do as you wish.
I was hoping for at least a bit of happiness from him about my marriage, but his reaction left me disappointed. However, Sophia comforted me.
Your family is me, right, Jack? Let's focus on making our own happiness from now on.
I was so grateful for her words that I hugged her and couldn't help but cry. After that, I had almost forgotten about my family before getting married and classmates, but then suddenly, I received a wedding invitation from my childhood friend. When I got home, I casually discussed it with Sophia.
But this might mean your classmates want to reconcile with you, Jack. Maybe they've rethought things now that they're adults.
You think so?
Maybe you should go after all, huh? I'll go with you, of course.
Okay, let's go. Thanks, Sophia. The next day, I circled "will attend" on the invitation and sent it back. 3 months later, on the day of Emily's wedding, I dressed in a suit. Sophia had been wearing a dress since morning, getting her hair done, and I couldn't help but admire her. Together with Sophia, I headed to the venue. The wedding was held at a well-known large wedding hall in the area.
Guess the wedding's big since her fiancé will become the president of Goldman Industries.
Yeah, it looks like there are more than 300 guests. As we talked, we entered the chapel and waited for the bride and groom's entrance. Emily, walking down the aisle with her father, looked happy. Her father, beside her, seemed proud. I clapped, but watching the scene, I felt a bit envious. My dad never attended my wedding, and Sophia, considering my feelings, had suggested a wedding with just the two of us. We moved to the reception hall and headed to the friends' table where my classmates were. They were all curious about Sophia, some even asking about her educational background out of curiosity. She laughed it off. I gave Sophia a look, and we took our seats. Then, the reception started. Emily, now in a traditional wedding dress, was beaming. Her groom, Frank, looked like a modern go-getter CEO. Everyone applauded them warmly. The guests included many executives and employees of Goldman Industries, all there to celebrate the couple's new beginning. Given this is the wedding of the president of Goldman Industries, a mid-sized machinery design company, it's bound to be a grand celebration. As the reception reached its midpoint, the bride and groom temporarily left for a wardrobe change. Seizing the moment, I decided to go to the restroom. I excused myself to Sophia and headed out of the venue. There, I unexpectedly ran into Emily and her husband, Frank, who had just exited for their photo session. Caught off guard, but I still managed to sincerely congratulate them. Emily, thank you for the invitation today, and congratulations on your marriage. Emily responded with a bitter expression, almost spitting out her words.
Oh, you actually came. Did you manage to prepare a wedding gift? You seem to have put in some effort to wear a nice suit, though.
Is this guy one of your classmates, Emily?
Frank scrutinized me, looking me up and down.
Yes, I was embarrassed to invite him, but he insisted on coming.
Embarrassed?
Frank inquired, glancing at Emily. I never insisted on coming. That's probably how all the classmates who attended today felt. We were here because Emily asked us to come. I swallowed those words, not wanting to ruin their special day. But Emily and Frank continued their disparaging conversation about me.
Can you believe it? This guy only graduated high school.
Emily pointed at me and said,
Seriously, well.
Frank laughed mockingly. The contempt in his gaze was unmistakable.
And he's married, too. What does his wife do, I wonder?
I answered honestly. She works in cleaning. I work at the same company. Emily and Frank exchanged looks, then sneered.
Eck, a dirty and smelly job. Perfect for a high school grad like you. I'd be too embarrassed to even mention I work at a cleaning company.
Yay, as a company president. I can even imagine. It's really the bottom of the barrel.
Hey, that's enough. I was angry, but Emily shooed me away with a dismissive gesture.
Just go home, will you? Don't infect us with your poverty.
Yay, why did you both even come? I bet your wife is embarrassed too. I mean, walking beside someone like you.
With that, Emily and Frank turned their backs on me and quickly left. I clenched my fists, trembling with anger. After being treated so terribly in high school, I still came to celebrate their marriage, only to be met with this treatment, mocking not only me but also Sophia and even our job. That's absolutely unforgivable. Then, a gentle hand rested on my shoulder. Sophia.
I heard everything. Jack, I have an idea.
Sophia's face was calm, but her tone carried a clear edge of anger. We returned to the reception hall together. When Emily and Frank re-entered after their outfit change, they visibly grimaced upon seeing me still there. I tried to ignore them, turning my face away. As the reception neared its end, the MC started walking around with a microphone. It seemed attendees were being asked for congratulatory messages. Employees of Goldman Industries praised Frank, and Emily's female friends, almost in tears, wished her happiness. The MC approached the table of high school classmates.
Here we have the bride, Emily's high school classmates. Could you please share a congratulatory message?
I was handed the microphone. Emily glared at me, as if warning me not to say anything out of line. I glanced at Sophia. You nodded quietly. I nodded back and began to speak. I'm one of the bride's classmates. I just have one thing to say. We at Smith Cleaning Services will no longer do business with Frank's Goldman Industries from now on. A hush fell over the room. I smiled and handed the microphone back to the MC.
What does that mean?
As the MC, sweating profusely, spoke, Emily raised her voice from the head table.
Sorry, everyone. This man is emotionally unstable and prone to lying. Despite being just a cleaner, he's embarrassingly making up such stories.
Frank followed suit.
Exactly. People like him don't belong here. Please remove him immediately.
The venue was enveloped in a tense atmosphere, and staff started approaching Sophia and me, who were sitting calmly. But then, a voice rang out.
Wait, are you both the president and the executive managing director of Smith Cleaning Services?
Frank's father, Bob, dressed in a tailcoat, said that with a genuinely surprised expression. Frank had taken over Goldman Industries from Bob upon getting married. Exactly. I am the head of Smith Cleaning Services, and this is my wife Sophia, the executive managing director. We are here today as the bride's high school classmates. As I said this, Frank's guests started murmuring.
Just a moment ago, the bride and groom told us to go home because poverty was contagious, and they said that they were embarrassed to have guests who do dirty, smelly jobs. Please forgive us for staying.
Sophia conveyed this calmly, and Bob, his face turning blue, began yelling towards the head table.
Apologize to them immediately.
But Frank and Emily replied with a half smile.
Dad, what are you talking about? Why should we apologize to guys like these?
Yay, what's so special about them?
Bob shouted, his voice shaking.
Frank, don't you recognize the name Smith Cleaning Services?
Smith Cleaning Services.
Realization dawned on Frank's face, turning paler by the second.
Could it be? Our major business client.
What? No way.
Emily was shocked at Frank's words.
Exactly. We recently contracted your company for the design and development of cleaning equipment.
Sophia added calmly, and I followed. And we also placed an additional order for the development of a new vacuum cleaner model. To tell the truth, Sophia is the daughter of the owners of Smith Cleaning Services, a top national cleaning company I joined after moving to the city. Currently, while running the cleaning business, we've also developed our cleaning supplies and recently ventured into e-commerce. Our company, unusual for a cleaning service, has grown to an annual revenue of $100 million with a staff of 6,500 at our headquarters alone. I, coming from a field perspective, was involved in developing successful cleaning supplies and eventually rose to the position of the head of product planning at the headquarters. That's how I met Sophia and eventually married her. Sophia and her family warmly welcomed me, despite my high school education. I worked tirelessly because I wanted to repay everyone, and that's how I got into my job. Last year, when Sophia's father retired, I took over as president.
If we lose the business with Smith Cleaning Services, do you have any idea how much loss we'll incur?
Bob was red with anger, shouting at Frank, who was trembling.
Oh, come on. I didn't realize.
You're not putting any real effort into running the business you inherited. That's why you even forget the faces of our business partners' CEOs?
That's...
I shouldn't have handed over the president's position to someone like you. Come here.
Bob grabbed him by the collar and dragged him over to us. And he forced an apology.
Please forgive us. We can't afford to ruin a project critical to our company's future.
Beside Frank, Bob apologized as well.
I'm terribly sorry. Please forgive me.
Frank, while apologizing, was sweating profusely onto the floor. Watching this, Sophia turned to me.
Jack, what do you want to do?
Well, then he's fired. He's clearly not fit to be a president.
Huh?
When I said that, my former classmates around me raised voices of surprise, realizing the extent of my influence. Bob quickly spoke up.
Of course not. My judgment was wrong.
Well, I don't plan on forgiving them. I mean, I even placed an order for the new products, considering it as a wedding gift. I must have been a fool. There were screams of despair from the Goldman Industries attendees. I even saw their sales manager faint. I had decided to place an order for the new products with Goldman Industries after hearing that Emily was marrying the president of the company at the reunion. I thought she had invited me to the wedding because she wanted to reconcile. But that expectation was completely betrayed, as Emily, with a stunned expression, turned red-faced and lashed out at me.
I don't know if you're the president or the executive managing director, but how dare you speak so arrogantly?
I glared back. Emily, maybe you should worry about yourself. If we stop our dealings, Goldman Industries will incur losses. Your dream of living a luxurious life as a housewife might be over. Upon hearing my words, Emily turned pale, finally realizing the gravity of the situation.
Jack, let's go.
Yay, Sophia. Frank and Bob continued their incessant apologies. I gave Emily, now pale at the head table, one last glance and left with Sophia's shoulder in my arm. After that, we indeed stopped our transactions with Goldman Industries. The company suffered major damage, and as a result, Frank was ousted from his position as president. Disowned by Bob, he lost his status and wealth. Emily and Frank, now constantly quarreling, eventually chose to divorce. With her family turning their backs on her and no one to rely on, Emily is now living alone, working night shifts. We, on the other hand, have been living peacefully as before. Recently, a lovely baby boy was born to us. Sophia and her family are overjoyed and adore him greatly.
I'm so happy I met you.
Sophia, I had once given up on life. That day I boarded the train, searching for somewhere to belong. I was actually terrified. Now, I'm truly grateful to my past self for taking that step. I want to visit my mom's grave with you, and, if it's okay, I'd like to see my dad with you, too. Sophia smiled softly as I spoke quietly.
Of course.
I plan to continue protecting my family and the company, living each day to the fullest,